On my girlfriend's birthday, I was forced to drink 10 shots of baijiu by her white moonlight. Even her friends couldn't bear to watch. Yet she just casually waved it off. Anyway, he has dementia. By tomorrow, he'll only remember that he loves me deeply. But later, I regained my memory, and no longer wanted to love. Yet now he's begging me to love him once more. Liu Ruoyan's 30th birthday. She invited many people, old classmates, and many others I didn't recognize. The group started playing Truth or Dare. Ruoyan, when are you and Fang Yuan getting married? Fang Yuan is me. I've accompanied Liu Ruoyan from humble beginnings to great success. For many, many years. Yet we still aren't married. Liu Ruoyan replied casually, even unwilling to mention it. Because his white moonlight Yi-Fan was sitting right across from him. He came back specially from abroad for Liu Ruoyan. Just got back. I heard he's already joined Liu Ruoyan's company. Yi-Fan seemed drunk. He asked Boss Liu a personal question. Is the person you like here? As soon as he said that, everyone started cheering and teasing. Liu Ruoyan held my hand right in front of him. The only one I love is Fang Yuan. Yi-Fan's expression went blank. Stunned. With bitter irony. Alright, Liu Ruoyan was squeezing my hand so hard it nearly broke. He desperately wanted Yi-Fan to break down emotionally, begging on his knees for reconciliation. It was my turn next. Yi-Fan seemed unwilling to accept it. Jokingly said, let him do a dare, okay? I stared at Liu Ruoyan in disbelief. He knew full well the dare meant drinking 10 shots of baijiu. Yet just one pleading look from Yi-Fan was enough for Liu Ruoyan to abandon everything. Yi-Fan got excited, pulled out his chair, came over holding a glass. He's more fun when he's drunk. Back in school, Yi-Fan tricked me into drinking. After I passed out, he pinned me to the ground, peeled on me and took photos. I've remembered it all these years. Excuse me, I'm heading home first. Yi-Fan suddenly found strength from somewhere, grabbed my arms with a few others. Fang Yuan, a bet's a bet, pay up. Please don't, I can't drink alcohol. Ruoyan just sat at the table, didn't even bother lifting an eyelid. If you go along with him, I'll marry you. Yi-Fan pried open my jaw, poured a shot of strong liquor down my throat. I choked and coughed violently. Some old classmates looked worried. Boss Liu, is this really okay? Liu Ruoyan just snapped. He has dementia anyway. He won't remember anything when he wakes up tomorrow. Actually, I only learned about my illness this morning. It was Liu Ruoyan's birthday. I was happily making a birthday cake when he snatched the ingredients from my hands and threw them straight into the trash. Don't make it, I don't like cake. He used to love it. He lowered his head and handed me the zipper of his dress. Help me zip it up. Before we could finish, I suddenly lost control. The living room was a complete mess. Underneath me, dripping liquid, made me freeze for a moment. What's wrong with me? Liu Ruoyan's calm face instantly tensed. In the end, he just crouched down, silently cleaned the floor. Didn't say a single word the whole time. I felt lost and tried to explain to him. I don't know what happened to me. He went to the restroom and washed his hands many times. You're sick. At the moment he said this, I saw unmistakable disgust on his face. I thought if it weren't for me having endured hardships with him all these years, Liu Ruoyan probably really wants to break up with me. After Ruoyan left for work, it took me a long time to accept the fact that I was ill. Around noon I went to Liu Ruoyan's company, only to see him together with Yi-Fan. The look in his eyes as he gazed at Liu Ruoyan was filled with reluctant attachment. Liu Ruoyan pretended to be indifferent, but the instant Yi-Fan lowered his head, he silently stared at him, lost in thought. Then came what happened tonight. Juhui got home very late. Liu Ruoyan suddenly told me a few days ago, Yi-Fan will come to visit you at home. Don't argue with him. In just one day, I've had to accept too much. My emotions are on the verge of collapse. Why does he want to come see me? To check when he'll die? Fang Yuan, I know I'm sick. No matter how you treat me. The next day, I'll forget it all after a good night's sleep. And I'll still love you just like before. But it's not me who's suffering. Why can't I get angry? If he dares come to our house, I'll kill him. Liu Ruoyan took a deep breath. Fang Yuan, you can act out however you want. But this is between us two. Please don't hurt anyone else, okay? He felt heartache. Is that so? I smashed all the trinkets off the display shelf, every single one. I stood barefoot on the floor. My soles cut open. Blood pooling everywhere. Yet Liu Ruoyan didn't get angry. There's still the bedroom, and worst case, I can always buy more. Go ahead and smash as much as you want. He grabbed my hand and led me into the bedroom. This month alone, you've already threatened to break up with me 18 times. Every single time, you don't remember it afterward. Fang Yuan, this is just how your life is going to be. But Liu Ruoyan was wrong. I've always been a determined person. When I pursued him, I could take the subway across an entire city, and when I decided to leave, I could stay awake all night, repeating to myself 1,000 times everything he'd ever done to me, terrified that I'd forget it all upon waking. At dawn, Liu Ruoyan got up and answered a phone call. It was from Yi-Fan. I knew this. He was inviting Liu Ruoyan to stop by his place for breakfast on the way to work. Liu Ruoyan quietly got dressed, saying, "Wait for me," and softly closed the door. I opened my eyes, silently took out the camera from the drawer, and started recording everything that happened yesterday, to remind myself that I absolutely must leave. In the process, I unexpectedly found earlier videos. It turned out this wasn't the first time I discovered Liu Ruoyan's infidelity. On my birthday, Liu Ruoyan accompanied Yi-Fan, who had stomach pain, to the hospital. I found a reservation confirmation for a 5-star restaurant and 2 movie tickets for a private cinema in Liu Ruoyan's car. The movie was titled Ambiguity. On that very same day, I faced the camera, eyes red, saying, "I have cancer, but I don't want to tell Liu Ruoyan." The camera froze on a medical report. Yet last night, to please that annoying Yi-Fan, Liu Ruoyan let him force alcohol down my throat. A sharp pain spread slowly from my heart, growing into an excruciating ache, making my whole body tremble. I suddenly desperately wanted to say something to Liu Ruoyan. I couldn't wait another moment of clarity, so I ran to his company. The instant I pushed open his office door, Yi-Fan's muffled voice came from inside the room. "I regret it, Liu Ruoyan." Liu Ruoyan said. "Fang Yuan hasn't recovered yet. I know, but I don't want to wait anymore. The one I love is right before my eyes. Yet I have to stay silent and hold back." Liu Ruoyan suddenly became emotionally agitated. "Yi-Fan, don't ever say things like that in front of me again." A secretary rushed over to stop me. "Mr. Fang, Director Liu has a guest. Please don't go in. You'd better wait outside." I've changed my mind. Alone and dazed, I walked into the lobby, pulled out a marker pen, and started scribbling on the bulletin board. A few minutes later, security guards hurried over to stop me. "Mr. Fang, what are you doing?" On the huge bulletin board, I had drawn circles around. There are 2 portraits. Next to them, in bright red lipstick, I wrote 4 characters. Despicable man, shameless woman. Yi-Fan stepped out and saw the scene. His face turned pale. He grabbed tissues and frantically wiped it away. "Fang Yuan, what exactly are you trying to do?" I curled my lips into a smile. "You tell me, what am I trying to do?" "You little mistress." The last 2 words. I spat out through clenched teeth, deliberately slow and heavy. Yi-Fan's expression shifted slightly. He snapped sharply at the people around him. "What are you all standing there for? Hurry up and wipe it off." Everyone here obeyed him without question, as if they'd already accepted his status by default. When Yi-Fan turned back again, I noticed the lapel pin on his collar, the one I left behind in Liu Ruoyan's office last time. I reached up to yank it off, but Yi-Fan flinched as if startled, and shoved me hard. The force sent me crashing into a table, knocking files and even the printer onto the floor. I collapsed amidst the wreckage. Stunned. A few seconds later, a sharp pain shot through my nose. Even breathing felt suffocating. Yifan leaned close to my ear. Don't go crazy, I'm warning you. I'm not a... 3. Fang Yuan, apologize to me right now. He demanded it. In front of all his colleagues. Furious at his shameless words, I trembled all over. When suddenly Yifan's attitude shifted completely. He began pleading softly. Fang Yuan, I'm begging you. I really have nothing going on with Director Luz. Please stop tormenting me. At that moment, a hand tightly grabbed my wrist from behind. With tremendous force, I was yanked away. Liu Ruoyan shoved me aside fiercely. Clenching her teeth as she asked, Fang Yuan, did you ever say? Not to hurt others? This was the first time Liu Ruoyan had ever yelled at me. Yifan looked utterly dejected. As if he were the one being bullied. He scanned everyone present with a grim face. Mess, Liu and I have absolutely no improper relationship. If anyone spreads rumors again, I will spare no effort to pursue legal action against them. See, he's still panicking. A drop of blood fell at my feet. Liu Ruoyan's secretary cried out in alarm. Director Liu, Mr. Fang, he's bleeding from the nose. Liu Ruoyan stared at me, stunned. I gave a faint bitter smile and said, Liu Ruoyan, I have cancer. No one will ever stand in your way again. Are you satisfied now? Whispers came from the crowd around me. Yifan looked utterly panicked. Just now I thought he was going to speak to Liu Ruoyan, but she ignored him. He took out a handkerchief and pressed it against my face. Don't move. Let me wipe it clean. Soon, his neat and tidy dress was stained in many places. Mr. Liu, Yifan started. Get lost. Liu Ruoyan suddenly shouted furiously. It startled me. Get out all of you. Yifan turned and walked out. The crowd slowly dispersed. I stood rooted to the spot. If you're ashamed of me, Ruoyan, just say it outright, he said, head lowered. In the end, he only said, Fang Yuan, let's go to the hospital. What about Yifan? Do whatever you want. Liu Ruoyan's voice was very quiet. He seemed too exhausted to say another word to me. I never want to see him again. Fine, I'll make him leave. After we returned from the hospital, Liu Ruoyan and I fell into a cold war. I printed divorce papers over and over again, only for her to silently toss them into the shredder. He wouldn't even let me leave the house. Life used to be really hard. We squeezed into a tiny rented apartment of just a few dozen square meters. Liu Ruoyan, once we have money, we'll buy a big house first. Back then, Liu Ruoyan had eyes only for me. Now he has more money than he could ever need. Bought a huge house, but turned it into a gilded cage for me. In his words, you don't even have any family left. You're someone who can't take care of yourself. Without me, you simply couldn't survive. He was truly chillingly cold. He hated me, yet still pretended to be loving toward me. Every day he came home on time to eat dinner with me. One evening, when he came back, I noticed a ring on his ring finger. It was the style I hated most. But Yifan's favorite. Can you please take it off? It really makes me sick. Liu Ruoyan paused, put down his bowl, silently removed the ring, and placed it into his pocket, but refused to throw it away. I couldn't eat another bite. I put down my bowl and left the table. Fang Yuan, let's get married. Liu Ruoyan suddenly called out to me from behind. In the past, I would have been thrilled, but I knew those words weren't sincere. Right now, Liu Ruoyan's company is at a critical stage of going public. He's terrified of any scandal breaking out. His proposal to marry me is absolutely not some sudden change of heart or remorse. I turned around and mocked him. Marry you? Help you calm everyone down. Ensure a successful IPO. Then live happily ever after with Yifan? Ruoyan, you're dreaming. I never expected Liu Ruoyan's retaliation to come so swiftly. When I woke up from my nap at noon, I heard commotion downstairs. I opened the door and stepped out, only to find strangers all over the house. Yifan had somehow arrived already. He was sitting in a dining chair, wearing my slippers, bossing people around as they moved things. He carried himself like the master of the house. That bed and bedding, everything in the wardrobe, throw it all out. The tightly shut nursery had now been opened, and everything I carefully prepared was being tossed outside. What are you doing? Yifan heard my voice. I tilted my head up and suddenly laughed. Woke up. Liu Ruoyan told me to have someone tear down this nursery, renovate it from scratch. After all, someone with cancer can't have children, right? By the way, this room will be empty, and it could even help others. My head buzzed violently. All I felt was my heartbeat quickening. Blood rushed instantly to my head. Liu Ruoyan solemnly promised me money, and that Yifan would never appear before me again. Yet now, he's moving into our house. Barefoot, I stepped onto the messy floor, walked downstairs, and saw the baby crib torn into pieces. Inside lay scattered haphazardly all the items we picked out together for our child, including the family heirloom my mom left for the baby. The peace amulet. Yifan shrugged. I didn't like how he looked at me, so I tossed it away. Where did you throw it? Somewhere outside, in the garden or the pool. It's just some useless trinket anyway. Right then, how could I possibly remember? If I can't find the peace amulet, you and Liu Ruoyan, you both deserve to die. I shoved hard against his approaching figure, not bothering to put on shoes. I ran off, without even looking back, heading straight for the garden. Yifan stood by the window, mocking me coldly. Fang Yuan, look at yourself right now. Do you even deserve Liu Ruoyan anymore? His company is going public soon. As CEO of a listed company, he mingles with high society everywhere he goes. What he needs is a dignified husband. But you're mentally ill. All you do is throw tantrums in public. What else are you good for? Please, I'm begging you. Stop using your past sacrifices to guilt-trip Liu Ruoyan. How much money do you want? Liu Ruoyan and I will give it to you. Just please leave him alone. Look at yourself. What right do you have to expect him to keep loving you? The sun blazed overhead. I knelt in the overgrown shrubbery of the garden, searching frantically everywhere, completely ignoring Yifan's taunts. When I couldn't find it in the bushes, I turned toward the swimming pool. As I stood up, I suddenly bumped into someone's arms. Liu Ruoyan gripped me tightly. What are you causing trouble about now? I whirled around and grabbed her clothes fiercely, shouting accusingly at Liu Ruoyan. I was just diagnosed with cancer. Are you really so eager to tear down the nursery already? Thunder rumbled repeatedly. In the distance. It's going to rain. The stifling air made my heart race anxiously. Liu Ruoyan turned her face away, too guilty to meet my eyes. The baby's gone. Keeping the room would only make you suffer more. Yifan said, Mr. Liu. He seems to really dislike me. The way he looks at me is kind of scary. Liu Ruoyan didn't answer, but her gaze stayed fixed firmly on him. I couldn't bear watching a silent exchange of affection anymore, so I shoved Liu Ruoyan away forcefully and turned toward the swimming pool. Fang Yuan, it's dangerous over there. Finally, the heavy rain broke through the clouds, pouring down steadily. Ripples spread across the water's surface. Yifan hurried after me, pretending to be worried, holding an umbrella over me. Please listen to Mr. Liu and go inside, okay? If you catch a chill, you'll wet yourself again, won't you? He glanced at me smugly, relishing his victory in winning Liu Ruoyan's favor. Clearly pleased with himself. The rain grew heavier and heavier. Behind me, the pool water had already started overflowing. Without the pool lights on, the dark water looked like a beast's gaping blood-filled maw. I suddenly grabbed Yifan's hair tightly, pushing him toward the swimming pool. Fang Yuan. Liu Ruoyan shouted angrily. She squatted down and tried hard to pull me away, but couldn't move me, because I was pressing my entire body weight onto Yifan. Yifan was completely submerged in the pool. His golden hair floated on the water. He struggled violently, but before long he stopped struggling. I lost all my strength. I let go of him. Yifan lay there like a dying dog, slumped against the edge of the pool. Liu Ruoyan's face turned deathly pale. She pulled Yifan out of the water. He sat on the poolside, leaning back into her arms. She patted his back urgently as he choked. Just spit it out. Spit it all out and you'll be fine. Her hands were trembling. She was speaking incoherently. Yifan hadn't even opened his eyes. pointing at me, his voice hoarse. Don't ever let me see him again. I didn't want to see fury burning in Lu Ruyan's eyes. Fang Yuan, I want you to get back right now. Then she turned gentle again, softly patting Yifan. I'll take you to the hospital. You can still talk, right? I lunged fiercely at Yifan again. Fang Yuan Lu Ruyan grabbed my arm, shielding Yifan with her body. The next second splash. I lost my balance, and Lu Ruyan pushed me into the pool water. Water surged at me from all sides, submerging my face. Just before sinking underwater, I saw Lu Ruyan's cold, dark gaze. Because I'd hurt Yifan, he struck back at me. The nurse told me, this is your 8th time being hospitalized this year. After falling into the water, my body became extremely weak, but I had no one to complain to. Liu Ruyan often stood outside, silently watching me through the glass door. I don't know what he told the doctors and nurses, but it seemed everyone assumed. Her husband is really disgusting. What even want to be her husband? Your wife isn't doing well, they said. Just walking past her, you can feel how feverish she is, like a furnace. Apparently, last time she jumped into the pool to save you, she caught a chill, and she refuses treatment. The caregiver, while talking to me, Liu Ruyan happened to call. The caregiver pressed speakerphone for me, holding the phone to my ear. Fang Yuan, Liu Ruyan's voice was hoarse. Eat properly. Otherwise, I'll personally watch you eat. As he said this, I was just dumping food into the trash bin. I looked up and saw him standing outside the glass window, watching me, threatening me, huh? I picked up the meal box and, right in front of him, threw the whole thing into the trash. Listen, Liu Ruyan, why don't you just go die? His face was unnaturally pale. Hearing me say that, he didn't react at all, did he? He just gave a soft laugh. Then I'll just have to watch you eat every single day. After my condition stabilized, I was transferred from the ICU to a VIP ward. From then on, I felt completely under Liu Ruyan's control. Every day on TV, news played about his company's upcoming IPO. I could already foresee my fate. Once I helped him stabilize public opinion and successfully list the company, I'd be sent straight to a psychiatric hospital. While he reached out, I gripped his wrist fiercely. Liu Ruyan didn't even blink. Next time, grab the other wrist instead. You keep grabbing the same spot, it's getting numb. I mocked him cruelly. Liu Ruyan, you should carve bitch right onto your own face. After saying that, I didn't see the anger I expected on his face. Liu Ruyan completely ignored my insults and adjusted the TV to fluff my pillow. It's time to sleep. You're not trying to make me forget everything again, are you? I stared coldly at him, thanks to you. I had a serious illness. My memory has improved a lot. Liu Ruyan curved his lips slightly. Having a better memory is a good thing. It's just like punching into cotton. Liu Ruyan has been increasingly busy with company matters, but he's afraid I'll run away. So he shuttles daily between the office and the hospital. Sometimes he probably even has to spare time to accompany Yifan. Anyway, his condition hasn't improved. On the contrary, it's getting worse. It's going to rain outside. I didn't turn on the lights in the hospital room and gazed outside, saying, Liu Ruyan rushed in hastily, ate what was left of my meal, and took only a few hurried bites. I'll stay with you tonight. Don't be afraid. I turned my head to look for the child's protective amulet. Stayed in the swimming pool. Liu Ruyan stopped. After recovering from his illness, his lips hadn't regained their color yet. Fang Yuan, there'll be a heavy storm outside. So what? I lowered the air conditioning temperature and curled up under the blanket. Weren't you supposed to love me the most? Liu Ruyan started coughing. Wait a bit. After the nurse finished hanging the IV, I'll go. Just half an hour. Liu Ruyan, dressed lightly, sat by the bedside in 80-degree air conditioning, waiting until I finished my IV. Only then did she open the door and leave. Fang Yuan, wait for me tonight. Don't fall asleep too early. I turned over, without saying a word, thinking to myself, with him looking so sick like this, he might as well just die on the way. The next day, I received a protective amulet brought in by the caregiver. It had been soaked in water and was somewhat wrinkled. Who sent this? The caregiver said around 1 a.m. yesterday. Your wife brought it, but you were asleep, so the nurse didn't let her in. It was pouring rain at that hour. I put the amulet into the bedside cabinet. Where is he now? He had a high fever, and someone took him away. I stayed in the hospital for nearly half a month. Liu Ruyan disappeared for a few days. During that time, I got a call from Yifan. He was so furious his voice trembled. Can't you stop tormenting Liu Ruyan already? He's already sick. Does his persistent high fever have anything to do with me? If only you could. His company wouldn't have had to beg me for help during its IPO. Unfortunately, someone like you, a mistress, is utterly shameful. Yifan angrily slammed the phone down. When Liu Ruyan reappeared, he looked even more haggard. Probably close to death. Lately, my mood has been quite good. Every day, I made Liu Ruyan peel apples for me. As I ate the apple he handed me, I quickly asked Liu Ruyan, will I die? The knife in his hand suddenly scraped across his thumb. Blood quickly welled up. Liu Ruyan pulled out a tissue and pressed firmly on the wound. Why would you think that? They told me my condition has worsened. You should be happy about that. If I act as if nothing happened and chewed on the apple, once I'm dead, you'll be free. No need to take care of a bedridden patient anymore. You can even take your mistress to list on the stock exchange. Liu Ruyan tossed the blood-stained apple into the trash bin. Fang Yuan, you say these things when you're angry. They're completely useless. It's you I love after all. My value hasn't been fully extracted yet. Liu Ruyan, let me give you a gift. What? Liu Ruyan looked somewhat stunned. I took her hand. Close your eyes. She actually believed me. I tore open an instant noodle packet and poured the seasoning onto his wound, sliced open by a knife. Liu Ruyan flinched in pain. He opened his eyes and saw me staring at him like an enemy. Yet he beamed with joy. I don't expect you to love me. Fang Yuan, just remember me, that's enough. He really was something. It was now December again. Before Liu Ruyan's company went public, he took me away. The plane landed in Hong Kong at dusk, amidst the bustling streets. He paraded through town holding my hand. I didn't know why he kept buying me so many things. Suits, ties, watches, the nicest ones were put on me. And the extras he carried himself. Don't look so gloomy, smile a little. Liu Ruyan seemed genuinely happy, clutching my arm and bouncing along cheerfully. Back in our early startup days, I'd once come here with Liu Ruyan to Hong Kong when we didn't have much money. We couldn't afford a hotel room costing 4 digits per night, or even a meal priced in the hundreds. Liu Ruyan had walked beside me along Victoria Harbor, gazing at a luxury yacht chartered entirely by the wealthy. Silent for a long while. Now he turned to me and said, Fang Yuan, I've chartered the entire yacht. Want to see the night view? I stood coldly by the harbor and replied, whatever. Liu Ruyan just smiled. All right then, just accompany me. Tomorrow his company would go public. Tonight he must be riding high on success. Victoria Harbor glittered magnificently under the night sky. I stood on the yacht's deck, letting the wind blow through me, while music from the band behind me echoed into the night. Liu Ruyan handed me a cup of hot tea. Come inside and sit for a bit. It's cold out here. I didn't move. And don't stand too far away. It's not safe. I stared into the dark sea, then suddenly asked him, what would happen if I jumped in right now? Your company's IPO ceremony would be interrupted, wouldn't it? Liu Ruyan froze. Then he bent down and hugged me tightly. His scent, carried by the wind, enveloped me completely. If that's how it is, I'll die with you. I laughed. What are you talking about? Tomorrow's your big day. I'm not jumping. Liu Ruyan laughed too, amused by me. Then let's go inside. There's piano music playing. You always loved that. I let him take my hand. And under the gaze of many onlookers, We walked into the spotlight at the center. Smooth piano music began to play. Liu Ruoyan's eyes sparkled just like they did back then. Happy 10th anniversary. So we've already been together for 10 years. Surprised? Liu Ruoyan held my arm. Yes, but the real surprise is for tomorrow night. I looked at Liu Ruoyan. I've got a surprise for you too. Liu Ruoyan's dark eyes locked onto mine. Really? Sometimes I think Liu Ruoyan is ridiculous. From youth until this very morning, everything has changed beyond recognition. Why insist on pretending to be a harmonious couple when we're clearly estranged? Liu Ruoyan's phone rang. No need to guess. I already knew who it was. I said with a smile, don't let it interfere with important matters. Liu Ruoyan picked up the phone and walked away toward the distance. The moment she turned around, the smile on my face vanished instantly. I turned and walked out of the cabin. A cold, desolate wind swept across Victoria Harbor, glittering yet hollow. I came to the railing, took off my shoes, and neatly placed them beside me. Coldness pierced through the soles of my feet from afar. I could hear Liu Ruoyan's voice as she spoke on the phone. Don't worry, as soon as I get back, we'll get married. You see, all along he's been planning for his future with you, Fan. It started raining from the sky. No one noticed when it began. I took off the scarf he gave me and threw it into the darkness below. I watched it tumble and float amid the waves. Then I turned and walked to the side of the ship's cabin beneath the window. I wrapped myself tightly in my down jacket. On my phone screen was the tip-off message I'd sent. There were problems with Liu Ruoyan's company. After tonight, he would be utterly disgraced. A few minutes later, Liu Ruoyan suddenly rushed onto the deck. Has anyone seen my husband? He grabbed a passing crew member. His voice suddenly frantic. A crowd followed behind him, chattering noisily in halting Mandarin. He did walk out. I stayed seated, unmoving, huddled in the corner, watching them frantically search for someone. Liu Ruoyan spotted my shoes dragged across the deck. His face instantly turned deathly pale. Someone pointed toward the sea. I saw his hat down there. Liu Ruoyan suddenly went mad, starting to strip off his clothes. People around him held him back. Miss Liu, please let the professionals handle this. Liu Ruoyan began, shouting, he's my husband. Who else would sincerely try to save him except me? Let go of me. I'll go find him myself. Everyone grabbed his waist, dragging him back by force. You must stay calm. It's too dark. You won't find him if you jump. Liu Ruoyan's eyes reddened, pleading desperately. I can do it. I can find him. Please, I'm begging you. Let me go. I watched Liu Ruoyan perform theatrics in front of everyone, and sneered mockingly. How come I never realized Liu Ruoyan was such a good actor? Sir, please stay calm. We'll have you call the police. Liu Ruoyan collapsed onto the ground, silent and speechless. Seeing he'd stopped struggling, the older man released him and pulled out his phone to call the police. In the next second, Liu Ruoyan vaulted over the railing. With a loud splash, he plunged into the water. The thick liquid swallowed all sound and life. My smile gone completely. The wind swept across the empty deck. Liu Ruoyan had vanished without a trace. Eventually, I was found near the doorway of a storage room on one side of the cruise ship. The rescue team searched the entire night and finally discovered Liu Ruoyan soaked in the sea. He was urgently rushed to a nearby hospital. Mr. Fang, your wife is still undergoing emergency treatment. Regarding your accusations against him, we're afraid we won't be able to verify them until he's out of critical condition. But don't worry. Our officers will protect you at all times. At the police station, I saw news coverage of the incident on TV. After a long while, I finally said, he knew jumping in would kill him. So why did he jump? The female officer looked utterly bewildered. Maybe because you're her husband. I remained noncommittal. Don't come to me for treatment. She has a lover named Yi Fan. You can contact her. A day passed. A female police officer came to see me. We didn't find any information regarding Mr. Yi Fan in MS. Leah's phone. Could you please provide his contact details? I shook my head. I don't have it. Liu Ruoyan protected him very well. We don't even have his contact information. But as far as we know, MS Liu has no relatives other than you. I grew frustrated and replied, how could that be? Have you asked at his company? Ask his secretary. He'll give you Yi Fan's contact information. Mr. Fang, you have Alzheimer's disease. Your attending physician informed us that for a long time you stubbornly believed MS Liu was unfaithful, and that there's a man named Yi Fan. You've even attacked people more than once because of this. Unfortunately, he's fictional. He doesn't exist at all. I listened to him, utterly bewildered, then suddenly laughed. Has Liu Ruoyan gone this far just to protect him? The policewoman, May, looked stern and said, I'm not joking with you. Miss Liu has no family left. Whether she continues life support is your decision. That's enough. I stood up. My emotions stirred. If you called me here today just for this, then let me tell you, I hope Liu Ruoyan dies. The policewoman sighed, handed me a phone. These belongings will temporarily be under your care. Should you need anything later, feel free to contact me anytime. When I walked out of the police station, it was raining. The air was cold and damp. I wrapped my scarf tighter and sat down on a random bench on the street. I pulled out Liu Ruoyan's phone, and the screen lit up, prompting fingerprint unlock. I pressed my thumb against it, and surprisingly, it unlocked. I couldn't even remember when it registered my fingerprint on his phone. Liu Ruoyan's phone screen wasn't cluttered with unnecessary apps. Her contacts list held over 100 names. I typed in Yi Fan, but found nothing. I tried several other search methods, all to no avail. I closed my eyes briefly, realizing I couldn't even recall Yi Fan's face anymore. Then I stumbled upon a private photo album. A dialog box popped up, asking for a password. Instinctively, I entered my birthday. The moment the password was accepted, my heart sank. Before my eyes appeared one video after another. My blood rushed upward, pounding in my ears again and again. I tapped the first one, autumn 2015. The video began playing automatically. A cheerful voice rang out from the speaker. Happy 3rd anniversary, Liu Ruoyan. Congratulations on graduating successfully. Congrats on founding your company. I instantly recognized my own voice. It was me who had filmed this VCR. Yet I couldn't remember this moment at all. A much younger Liu Ruoyan lifted her eyes and stared directly into the lens. My voice from the footage soared with joy. Look at your husband signing what? Do you like the south or north part of the city? I'm going to buy a house. Pick a place you like. In our settling down video, I hugged Liu Ruoyan and kissed her in a dark, unseen corner. Ruoyan's ears quietly turned red. The second video was from spring 2016. Liu Ruoyan got drunk. I pointed the camera at her face. Today we're interviewing director Liu, whom were you drinking with so late? Liu Ruoyan closed her eyes. She grabbed my hand, pressed it against her chest and mumbled something. What did you say? I didn't catch that. Holding the camera close, 200,000. I earned 200,000. Call Fan Yuan over. Have him follow up on the final payment. I asked with quiet satisfaction. Why should Fan Yuan be the one to follow up? What good have you given him? The benefit, Liu Ruoyan was still dazed, because the money's going straight into his account. After saying this, the video, the lens suddenly flipped, fell to the ground, pointed toward the trash bin. Liu Ruoyan's head was stuck in the trash bin. The sound of vomiting came through clearly. Outside the frame, I scrambled around frantically. Hey, hold on a sec. It'll take you to the hospital. Over 100 videos witnessed our past. From when Liu Ruoyan first started her company to its gradual growth. Our filming backgrounds changed from cheap rentals to apartments and large villas. Not a single video ever mentioned Yi Fan's name. The sky gradually darkened. Neon lights lit up the streets. I felt a bit cold. Pulled my scarf tighter. Open the next video. 2018. This time the video showed Lu Ruyan and me sitting together. In front of the camera I smiled brightly. But Lu Ruyan wore a somber expression. Judging by our clothes, we clearly become much wealthier. I turned to Lu Ruyan and said with a smile, "What's wrong? Smile a little." Lu Ruyan lowered her eyes. Looked at me seriously. I turned back to face the camera again. As I kept smiling, my eyes started to well up. I've been diagnosed with Alzheimer's. The doctor said if it's well managed, the progression might slow down a bit. I want to break up. Lu Ruyan wouldn't allow it. She held me tightly and insisted, "We won't split up. You should know clearly. I'll forget everything eventually, including you." I might scream and shout, and do many unreasonable things. Lu Ruyan, you've achieved great success in your career. Your future life shouldn't be burdened with a husband like me. Lu Ruyan stiffened slightly. If one day you forget everything, the one suffering won't be you, Fan Yuan. No matter what happens, I'll never leave you. Let's get married. Right now, I said cheerfully. I've hidden a household registration book. If someday I manage to cure this illness, I'll tell you where it's hidden. Let's go get our marriage certificate. I can't wait. Lu Ruyan's eyes filled with tears as she pleaded. Just today, okay? I kissed her lips gently. Be good. Listen to me. Wait until my illness isn't so severe anymore. I'll marry you. In the following video, Lu Ruyan suddenly replaced her. I became the protagonist in front of the camera. Tying an apron, I proudly showed off my cooking skills in front of the bread oven. What flavor of cake do you like? I asked. Lu Ruyan secretly turned off the gas stove I'd forgotten to shut off. Lemony hummed a little tune. Then let's make lemon. Oh wait, what are the next lyrics of that song again? Lu Ruyan hummed along softly. Singing together with me? In the dimly lit room, Lu Ruyan curled up on the sofa silently crying. The TV played a movie that had already ended. I laughed. Why are you crying? It's just too touching, he said, holding a tissue. If it ever gets screened in theaters, we absolutely have to go watch it at the cinema. Alright, help me remember that. It's the English version, warm stomach. Not the Korean version. The scene cuts again. The kitchen counter was left in complete chaos. I tied on an apron, looking utterly bewildered. What flavor of cake did you say you liked again? Lu Ruyan quietly threw away the paint. Sorry, she said. I forgot to buy the ingredients today. How about we go out to eat instead? But your birth mother loves. Don't you like cake? He kissed me gently. Eating cake makes you gain weight. You probably wouldn't like a chubby Lu Ruyan. I thought for a moment, then followed her to get dressed. As we stepped out the door, I muttered. Actually, a plump Lu Ruyan is kind of cute. Later on, the video started becoming shorter. Sometimes I'd appear in the frame, doing something unrelated. Lu Ruyan would put down the camera and run over to skillfully clean up after me. Lu Ruyan, don't say sorry. It's not your fault, and you're not causing me any trouble. Gradually, I began to become moody and unpredictable. One moment I'd be talking calmly with Lu Ruyan. The next I'd suddenly throw things at him. In one video, I shouted furiously at a man walking through the door. He covered his head, panicked, yelling, "Feng Yuan, it's me Xu Shuang. I'm your best friend. Please, don't treat me like this." I smashed a cake into his face. Lu Ruyan, take your lover and get out. Minutes later, the video captured my muffled sobs. Lu Ruyan, I beg you. Let's break up, okay? I don't want to keep lashing out at you like a madman. It's alright, I don't mind. Really, I truly don't mind. Next time, could you just tell me that I have dementia? I'm sick. If I knew, I'd definitely try to control myself. Okay, later on, the videos turned into Lu Ruyan's solo monologues. Feng Yuan has been hospitalized for the 3rd time this year. He started hating me. He sees every man around me as he fan, attacking and resenting them. Lately his temper's been worse because he thinks he has cancer. The doctor suggested I send him to a nursing home, but I can't bear to do it. I've told him so many times that I love him, but he never remembers. Lu Ruyan's eyes reddened. She lowered her head, steadying her emotions. Let's just take a break for now. Stay with her, he'll slowly get better. The next clip showed many people gathered together. It took me a while to realize this was Lu Ruyan's recent birthday party. Lu Ruyan, when are you and Feng Yuan getting married? Lu Ruyan glanced at me. She looked a bit downcast. Let's not rush it for now. Wait until he's recovered a bit. We might need to go abroad to hold the wedding. Later everyone started playing truth or dare at the dinner table. The man across from us pressed down on the round table, staring straight at Lu Ruyan. Miss Liu, I have a personal question for you. Is the person you like here right now? The whole room started cheering and teasing. Lu Ruyan, think carefully before answering. Xu Shuang is Feng Yuan's buddy. You'd be in big trouble if you offend him. Lu Ruyan, grab my hand. The only person I love is Feng Yuan. Xu Shuang's eyes grew a little moist. Good, I hope you mean what you say. When it was my turn, Xu Shuang asked me, Feng Yuan, time's up. Let's drink our herbal medicine, okay? I sat across from him, head bowed, looking dazed, as if I hadn't heard anything. Xu Shuang forced a strained smile and changed his approach. Feng Yuan, don't you love drinking? Let's take a shot together. I finally reacted. Xu Shuang seemed encouraged by this and let out a long sigh of relief. He picked up the bowl of herbal medicine and walked over. Drinking is actually fun, Feng Yuan. Let's give it a try. I said coldly. I want to go home. Everyone stared at me bewildered. Xu Shuang grabbed me. Just one cup. I started struggling violently, nearly spilling the medicine several times. Lu Ruyan listened to my furious yelling. His knuckles white as he clenched his lips tightly. Feng Yuan, listen to him. Drink the medicine and we'll get married. Xu Shuang skillfully coaxed and cajoled and forced it down my throat. Several red scratch marks appeared on his hand where I'd clawed him. That's enough for today. We'll figure something else out tomorrow. Boss Lu, is this really okay? Everyone asked worriedly. Lu Ruyan gave a bitter smile. It's fine. Anyway, once he wakes up tomorrow, he won't remember any of this. Raindrops tapped against the awning. I tilted my head back, gazing up at the sky. Yet couldn't piece together ye fans. Face in my mind, I found Xu Shuang's name in my phone. Opened our chat history, which hadn't been updated in a very, very long time. Hey bro, Lu Ruyan's birthday is coming up. I'm planning to surprise him. What do you have in mind? I'll invite his friends over for a gathering. You're the king of warm-ups. Come up with some interesting questions. Haha, got it. You want to ask Lu Ruyan in front of everyone whether he loves you, right? Leave it to your buddy. You can count on me. At the end of 2022, I was alone on the streets of Hong Kong, sobbing uncontrollably. Through a glass window, I saw Lu Ruyan lying in bed, covered in tubes. Has the payment been made yet? Faced with the doctor's question, I felt utterly helpless. I'm sorry, I don't remember my bank card pin. Try again. Your wife's life is hanging by a thread. This is when she needs you most. If the bill remains unpaid, we won't be able to prescribe. Alright, I don't have much cash. And I don't even have a place to stay. I spent the entire day pacing outside the payment window, entering the wrong pin over and over again. The staff at the window said, Sir, could you please stop disrupting medical order? In the evening, I used my last bit of change to buy 2 loaves of bread. Standing outside the ICU door, I kept repeating tirelessly, feed Lu Ruyan. Doctors and nurses hurried past me. A nurse urgently pulled me aside. Haven't you forgotten again? You need to go pay the fees now. Not buy bread. Seeing my bewildered expression, he sighed helplessly and walked away. I didn't know who bumped into me, and my bread fell all over the floor. Suddenly I burst into tears. Like a useless wreck, the door in front of me opened. A nurse squatted down before me. Your wife has woken up. He asked me to tell you. Don't panic. Someone will come later to take you to the hotel. I only remembered one sentence. Liu Ruyan has woke up. I've been waiting outside the ICU nurses station for many days, refusing to leave no matter who called me. When tired, I'd curl up and sleep on a mat in the hallway. When awake, I'd fill my stomach with whatever food doctors gave me. I don't even know how many days passed before Liu Ruyan was wheeled out. I stood by his bedside. Liu Ruyan had grown much thinner. When he saw me, he let out a sigh. What we feared most has happened. Since I wasn't here, they've all been bullying you, haven't they? Was it because I cried out loud that they wouldn't let me buy you bread? Don't cry anymore. Liu Ruyan took my hand. You're making my heart ache. I accompanied Liu Ruyan into a regular ward, clutching his hand tightly, refusing to let go for even a step. Whenever strangers entered, I'd freeze up in fear. Later, Liu Ruyan stopped letting anyone come in. Sometimes he'd prop himself up and walk to the doorway. Through his loose hospital gown, I saw many scars, pinch marks, bite marks, bruise marks. Some were even fresh. Others had just healed. I followed behind him, gently placing my hand on his neck, feeling his stiffness and tension. Did I ever hit you before? Liu Ruyan slowly relaxed. Did you fasten your clothes properly? You never caused me any trouble with what you do. I murmured clingily. I tricked you into jumping off that cruise ship, ruining your company's IPO plans. That's not how it happened. You're remembering it wrong. Just get some good sleep. Everything will get better. I fell into a deep sleep beside him. I had some chaotic, jumbled dreams. In my dream, I recalled Su Shuang's face. He was arguing with Liu Ruyan in the office. I regret it now. I shouldn't have let Fang Yuan stay by your side back then. I'm taking him abroad to find the best doctors. Do you think I haven't tried? If you tried, why isn't he better yet? I'm going insane. Every day he treats me like a complete stranger. The person I love is right in front of me. Yet I can't even speak a word to Fang Yuan. Liu Ruyan, do you really think you're the only one who loves him? Shut up. Liu Ruyan's expression turned cold. Su Shuang, from now on, don't say things like that in front of me again. Later, I was frantically drawing on the bulletin board when Su Shuang charged toward me. His face turned green. He covered my face and shouted furiously at the onlookers. Get lost. Stop filming. I'll sue you all, Fang Yuan. This is a company premises. Let's go home and talk. I didn't listen at all. Instead, I pushed him away. You little mistress. Just go die. Su Shuang grabbed my hand, the one that had just done something terrible, and went berserk. Stop going crazy. I'm not the mistress. Fang Yuan, apologize to me right now. I spat in his face. You. If you ever dare show up in front of me again, I'll kill you. Su Shuang's face instantly turned to ashen. He was so furious his face turned livid. Fang Yuan, snap out of it. Stop torturing me like this. When Liu Ruyan came downstairs, I was wrestling with Su Shuang. He's still trying to protect me, so I wouldn't fall. But I still fell anyway. My skin scraped off and I started bleeding. That day, I said many illogical, hurtful things that wounded my family and friends. Liu Ruyan and Su Shuang had a huge fight. She wrapped my wound with her clothes and took me to the hospital. I woke up from my dream. The hospital room was completely silent, except for Liu Ruyan standing with her back to me on the phone. My husband is the patient. If you hadn't spoken so carelessly that day, he wouldn't have pushed you into the water. I was just joking. The man's voice on the other end sounded vaguely familiar. Liu Ruyan's voice was icy cold, saying right in front of my husband that he's a burden. You call that a joke? If it weren't for the villa's surveillance footage, I'd never have known what you did to him. Do you even act like an older brother? Does your Fang family think that just because Fang Yuan is ill, I'd suddenly fall for you? Don't even dream about it. Right now I deeply regret letting you try to calm him down. What you've done to Fang Yuan is unforgivable. Aren't you afraid I'll sue him and have him locked up in a psychiatric hospital? Liu Ruyan let out a cold laugh. Aren't you alive and perfectly fine? I gave you the best treatment possible, keeping you lively and well. It wasn't Fang Yuan who fabricated those stories. You should be grateful you're not some drowned ghost needing offering. I'd never let Fang Yuan carry the burden of taking a life. If anyone ever does, it'll be me. I called out to him once. Liu Ruyan said, his voice pausing mid-sentence, then silently hung up the phone. When he turned back, his expression softened. What's wrong? Finally, I understood why. During those hazy days, Liu Ruyan kept stressing to me over and over, not to hurt anyone else. Was it really him who spoke to me that day at the villa? Liu Ruyan first reached out his hand toward me, then hugged me. It was me who nearly drowned him. It's okay, you won't die, but just for pushing you into the water. I won't let him off the hook. He let out a quiet sigh. The doctor said removing the nursery could prevent further psychological triggers. So we asked your brother to come help calm you down. I never expected he had his own agenda. After I got sick, my family and friends all gave up on me. Only Liu Ruyan and Su Shuang haven't abandoned me. I whispered softly. I miss home. Let's go home, okay? But after we came back from Hong Kong, I always liked sitting alone in the corner, staring blankly out the window. Ever since Liu Ruyan fell seriously ill, the company has been in chaos. He's been so busy his feet never touched the ground. We hired a caregiver for the house. When Liu Ruyan wasn't around, she just watched me. I found movie tickets in Liu Ruyan's pocket. 2 tickets for Muan Mei. So he was planning to go with me. Unfortunately, I was in a bad mood that day, and lashed out at Liu Ruyan. We never made it. Also, the test results showed everything was normal. I don't have AIDS. Yet I kept putting Liu Ruyan through so much trouble over and over again. Everyone says, Liu Ruyan has no family left, and I am his only relative. Yet I've caused him so much trouble. Fang Yuan, what are you looking at? It's already February. Outside, snow keeps falling non-stop. A few days ago, the pine tree by the window snapped under the weight. After Liu Ruyan got off work, he still carried the scent of blood on him. It felt a bit cold. I picked up the half-finished sweater I'd been knitting. I was wondering before Dongfang passes away, will you still get to wear it? No rush, Liu Ruyan said, sitting beside me by the window. You'll definitely wear it next year. I leaned in and kissed her gently. By accident, my fingers brushed against the ring on his ring finger. Liu Ruyan flinched. Just as he was about to take it off, I stopped him. I remember. I opened his hand, examining the ugly-looking ring. It was based on my design sketch. Liu Ruyan lowered his eyes, then pulled another ring studded with diamonds from his chest pocket. They're a pair. But last time, I called them disgusting. It's okay, if you don't like it, I'll just hide it away. Then, when you like it again, I'll wear it. I held up my ring finger. Put it on me. I really like the rest of our days. I seem to have truly returned to how I used to be. Liu Ruyan would snuggle close to me, looking through old photos together, taking me to relive our past. Patiently, he stitched together fragments within my broken memories, reconstructing our shared history. During this time, I received a call from my brother. He begged me, Fang Yuan, please ask Liu Ruyan to spare me. I don't know what Liu Ruyan did to him, but it left him terrified. His panic affected me, causing me to accidentally hurt Liu Ruyan again. Once I came to my senses, I blocked him immediately. In spring, Liu Ruyan took me to see the cherry blossoms. The weather was warm and pleasant. My temper tantrums grew fewer and farther between. Each time, Liu Ruyan would smile and praise me. You've gotten so much better. But I knew my improved temper was because I couldn't remember much anymore. Not even why I should be angry. On the morning of our anniversary, I got up and followed Liu Ruyan around like a shadow. In just 10 short minutes, I asked 5 times, who are you? Liu Ruyan could barely keep up the smile, forcing a pained expression. Fang Yuan, I'm your wife, Liu Ruyan. I started forgetting frequently where I was supposed to go, often waking up confused. Found myself at the police station. Liu Ruyan looked extremely anxious, rushed over from an important meeting, hugged me tightly. It's okay, it's okay. Caregivers came and went in batches. Because I only listened to Lu Ruyan. They were afraid of me and couldn't keep watch over me. The doctor suggested Lu Ruyan send me to a nursing home with gated access and surveillance. Many professional staff. A place capable of properly taking care of me. Lu Ruyan refused. I'd rather keep him by my side than let him go somewhere without me, living in fear. Later, he started bringing me to his company. I just sat beside him, spacing out. When I went to the restroom, I overheard them loudly mocking Lu Ruyan. Such a big CEO of a listed company. Every day treats his husband like a mentally disabled person. Bringing him to work. Laughable maybe, it's just for show. Stable stock prices are what keep us employed. Then ill. Pray for their eternal love. Haha. I saw him lose bladder control, and President Lu even squatted down to wipe him clean. So disgusting. I waited in the restroom until everyone left before coming out. Staring at myself in the mirror. My shirt tail was untucked. Zipper. Hey, I tried to fix it but couldn't get it right. I knew it was time for me to leave. Fang Yuan caught a cold a few days ago. He felt ill and absolutely refused to go to the office with Liu Ruyan. She temporarily called a caregiver to look after him, planning to quickly handle things at the office, and rush back to keep him company. That morning, right before leaving, Fang Yuan ran over and kissed him, and took off the ring from his ring finger, saying he wanted to have them both cleaned. Liu Ruyan promised Fang Yuan that when he came back, he'd bring some small cakes from a cake shop located in the suburbs. During the day, some trouble erupted at the company. Liu Ruyan got held up. By the time he returned home, the setting sun cast dazzling reflections on the marble floor. In the kitchen, the caregiver hummed a tune while brushing egg wash onto pastries. Liu Ruyan asked, "Where's Fang Yuan?" The caregiver said he was sleeping upstairs. Liu Ruyan walked up the stairs. Noticed the embroidered sachet hanging on the wall was missing. A leather ring was gone from the display shelf. He furrowed his brows. Hurriedly pushed open the bedroom door. The setting sun shone through the glass. Bold and triumphant. The empty room had neatly made beds, with a letter lying on top. Liu Ruyan trembled as he opened it. Fang Yuan's handwriting was crooked. The ink color inconsistent. Apparently written in fragments over a long period. A breakup letter to Liu Ruyan. I've always believed the decision we made in 2015 was right. I consulted the doctor. There probably won't be many lucid days ahead. Although I truly wish to walk the rest of the way with you. I'm terrified about our future. Just as you love me, and can't bear to see me hurt or suffering. I love you the same way. So I hope your future shines bright and brilliant. The path we've walked together ends here. I found a nursing home, where I can quietly spend the rest of my life. I once promised to celebrate your birthday every single year, but I might not be able to keep that promise anymore. In the future, I might not even remember. So I'll wish you happy birthday many times in advance. In the future, you'll find someone who loves you again. I'm sorry, unilaterally announcing a breakup is a cruel thing to do. But I don't have much time left with my mind clear. One moment of weakness might bring you harm. I'm not willing to take that risk. Lu Ruyan, it's been a pleasure knowing you. Goodbye. The sunset curves past the window, sinking below the horizon. The light dims. The camera in the room is gone. Fang Yuan has been living quite. All traces have vanished completely. Liu Ruyan suddenly covers her face, bursting into tears, as spring nears its end. Fang Yuan completely abandoned him, and left this coastal city without clear boundaries. The wind blowing from the ocean always carries a slight chill. Not enough to pierce the bones. But today is Mid-Autumn Festival. Do you really have no family? Fang Yuan sits by the window folding paper. Behind him, the caregiver tidies his bed, while grumbling. I was supposed to be on leave. If it weren't for you, I'd have gone home already. He doesn't understand much of what the caregiver says, especially the occasional dialect words that pop out. Even the origami contest was something he only learned about a few days ago when the association brought it up. Nobody's entering the contest anyway. The caregiver snatches the paper frog from Fang Yuan's hands, and tosses it into the trash bin. During the first few months after arriving, the nursing home treated this man who had no relatives, but remained mentally alert, with reasonable courtesy. But nobody could tolerate his unpredictable temper. He never wanted to talk to anyone, and was stubbornly set in his ways. Every day, he just stayed holed up in his room folding paper frogs, and scattering them everywhere. After hastily cleaning the room, the caregiver left. Today is Mid-Autumn Festival. Many patients' families have come to visit, and are all gathered in the cafeteria. He needs to go help out. Fang Yuan stayed alone in his room until 1 o'clock. Hungry instinct drove him out the door to find the kitchen. But, on his way there, he got lost. Liu Ruyan was driving, rushing over 1,000 miles to reach this nursing home. When she saw her Fang Yuan stumbling after a scarf carried away by the wind. That was his scarf. Staff members passing by wore cold expressions. He couldn't catch up and fell down, spilling a pile of paper frogs from his backpack. Liu Ruyan ordered the car to stop immediately, and quickly walked toward Fang Yuan. Suddenly, a security guard seemed to notice her. "Excuse me, are you Liu Ruyan's driver?" She handed her business card to the guard. Liu Ruyan walked up to Fang Yuan, and helped him up from the ground. Fang Yuan looked disheveled and dirty, as if someone had twisted a knife in her heart. He stared at Liu Ruyan blankly. "Who are you?" "I'm Liu Ruyan." "Such a beautiful girl." Forcing a smile, "It really looks awful." Fang Yuan felt a bit sorry for him. He stuffed the entire backpack into his arms. Liu Ruyan opened it, filled to the brim with paper frogs. "Are these for me?" Fang Yuan nodded. Liu Ruyan slung the little backpack onto her shoulders, pulled out a handkerchief, and patiently wiped his face clean. Fang Yuan said, "I'm hungry." He knew someone must have bullied Fang Yuan whenever he wasn't around. He felt sad, and couldn't hold back his tears. "Why are you crying?" Fang Yuan gently wiped Liu Ruyan's tears. Somewhat flustered. "You're not hungry anymore? Don't cry." Liu Ruyan tightly embraced her. The tension she had held in for so long finally broke. He really frightened Fang Yuan. Crying and laughing at the same time, she clung to him without letting go. Fang Yuan felt this person was somewhat closed off. Liu Ruyan had just yelled furiously at the nursing home director. Fang Yuan had paid the fees, yet hadn't received the proper care he deserved, simply because he had no family members. When Liu Ruyan opened the door with a grim expression, Fang Yuan was just about to run away. Liu Ruyan grabbed him firmly and sighed, "Don't wander off." To Fang Yuan, it suddenly felt like he'd gained a very temperamental nanny. Not only was she beautiful, but she also got angry at others, though she was quite nice to him. He started liking her. "Where should we start folding the little frog?" Liu Ruyan studied attentively, while Fang Yuan taught carefully. "First, you need a square piece of paper, then fold it like this." Ruyan learned quickly, and folded it very well. A month's worth of origami frogs, he finished them all in just 3 days, with nothing left to do. Fang Yuan sighed. "There's nothing more I can teach you. You should go now." But Liu Ruyan wouldn't let up. "As a reward, it'll take you out to play." Fang Yuan was shy by nature, and never quite knew how to refuse people, especially someone he had started to like. On a warm, sun-drenched afternoon, Liu Ruyan took Fang Yuan back to her home. She no longer remembered their past together, and looking at a photo of them on the wall, she said, "Your boyfriend is really handsome." Liu Ruyan leaned down and kissed her softly on the lips. "That's you, Fan." Fang Yuan blushed, covering his mouth with his hands. "How can you be so casual?" Liu Ruyan pulled him through every corner of the house. Sticky notes covered the walls, filled with stories of their life together. Fang Yuan stood by the railing, reading them, and as he read, a deep sadness welled up inside him. It felt as if he had truly lost something precious. Liu Ruyan never forced him to remember anything. Every day she still brought Fang Yuan to her office. Ever since those gossiping employees were fired, no one dared spread rumors anymore. On their way home from work, Liu Ruoyan would still buy Fang Yuan a small cake, letting him sit in the passenger seat humming a tune, chatting about whimsical, far-fetched things. Many people secretly said that there was no light left in Liu Ruoyan's future, but they didn't know that for Fang Yuan, every single day with her was bright and clear. Fang Yuan's memory suddenly came flooding back one evening. It was a Friday. After work, traffic jammed the wide streets completely. Red brake lights flickered endlessly in the sunset's glow. Fang Yuan heard a familiar song, the theme from the movie, Warm Sister. Suddenly, he recalled the scene where Liu Ruoyan, holding a guitar in the evening breeze, had confessed her love to him. It all rushed back into his mind. He suddenly looked up at the woman before him, no longer young, and memory surged forth uncontrollably. He realized he had already loved her for so many years. Liu Ruoyan Fang Yuan called out to her softly. What is it? Liu Ruoyan assumed he was just interested in some street food again. Her eyes followed his gaze, facing Fang Yuan's bright moist eyes. He suddenly felt his blood freeze. The love of his life, whom he had waited for years, suddenly remembered him. Fang Yuan smiled through her tears. Thank you. On the day I woke up, to find myself still sitting beside you. Liu Ruoyan pulled the car over to the roadside, and tightly embraced Fang Yuan, releasing years of pent-up sorrow. In this moment, it all turned into tears, soaking his collar. If you remember everything now, please tell me, where did you hide the household registration book? Liu Ruoyan's voice was hoarse. Let's get married, okay?